Wow, 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 wow. OMG, guys, we just saw ourselves a fantastic game of women's basketball. Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. The Super Bowl is happening later today, but the fireworks have already started in the SEC. Because I felt like I smelled an upset today, and it turns out that today is Upset Sunday as Texas redeems themselves and takes down South Carolina. It was such a good game that Mr. President is still super excited about it. He's going crazy about it. Yeah, guys, I've told you before. I'm gonna tell you again. Reminder: anybody can get got. Anybody. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're the best team. Doesn't matter who's on the floor. It doesn't matter what the refs do. Anybody can get got. And South Carolina, they learned that earlier this year against UCLA, and they have learned it again today with Texas taking down South Carolina 66-62. Now, guys, this was one of those 1-1 games, right? Where Texas and South Carolina played each other twice. So we saw South Carolina destroy, basically, Texas a couple weeks ago in South Carolina. And now Texas was able to return the favor. In that first game, that first matchup, we saw Madison Booker. She couldn't do anything. Like, she was trash in the first matchup between South Carolina and Texas. And today, yeah, Maddie B was not crazy efficient, but she was more efficient. And ultimately, she was able to help get her team the dub, okay? Again, 66-62. Now, let's break down this game. Let's break it down because I thought this was a game where you just didn't know. You just back and forth battle, right? Where we saw Texas really do their thing in the first half, like kind of dominate in the first half. Third quarter comes, South Carolina changes up their strategy, and then fourth quarter, Texas turns it back on, ultimately finishes the game. Now we're gonna break down the game in particulars in just a sec, but I do want to just see y'all comments. And see what y'all got to say. BB says, Quita, please, I can't handle this. Hey, everybody got to lose sometimes. Again, remember, anybody can get got, including your favorite team. All right? Including whoever your favorite team is. Y'all can get got. That absolutely can happen. And it did today. This is a streak broken today for South Carolina. They had 57 consecutive wins in the SEC. 57 consecutive wins. Gone like that. It is gone. The streak is over for South Carolina, courtesy of Texas. And this was a game that, like, again, back and forth battle. So in the first half, what did we see? We saw a whole lot of defense from Texas. Texas, what were they doing defensively that was very impactful in that first half? They were plugging up the paint. That's what this team did. They plugged up the paint in this first half. We saw, especially in that first quarter for South Carolina. That first quarter for South Carolina, they score one bucket in the paint. One bucket in the paint for South Carolina in that first quarter. They get like 3 buckets in that second quarter, but like overall in that first half, the paint was plugged. Every time South Carolina was trying to make something happen in the paint, what were they doing? Getting swarmed by Texas, because that was Texas's strategy. Hey, South Carolina, we know they like to score in the paint, right? We know that's what they love to do. And what we are going to do is every time you get inside the paint, we're going to have our hands up. We are going to swarm you. We are going to prevent you from being able to throw it out to an open man. There were times in that first half where there were shooters open, but if you're swarming If Texas is swarming you, you're in the paint, you're kind of screwed, right? So we saw steal after steal, missed shot after missed shot. We just saw South Carolina looking frazzled. Now, part of that was because of foul trouble. Absolutely. We saw Sanaya Fagan get in foul trouble early. Chloe Kitts get in foul trouble early, right? Bree Hall, foul trouble, right? Miriam Dowda barely played in this game. And every time she got out on the court, she was fouling. And so, yes, there was foul trouble. Absolutely. But we saw a very active, very, very active defense by Texas that just frazzled the mess out of South Carolina. So they go into halftime with a deficit. The largest deficit since 2021 for South Carolina. Right? It's only 11 points. I'm sorry, it actually wasn't. It was 9 points. It was only a 9-point deficit for South Carolina, but it was the largest one that they had, since 2021. So a big deal. And what did Dawn Staley do? I'm sure whatever she said in that locker room was probably something like this. Y'all see what they're doing every single time. When y'all get in the paint with the basketball, they swarm you, and you cannot look to find anybody else. So, what did South Carolina do at the start of the third quarter? And it went away from it in the fourth quarter, which I think is partially why they kind of lost. Okay? So, in the third quarter, South Carolina played 5 out. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but that was what they did, right? We saw their post players were around the free throw line. The paint was pretty bare in terms of a South Carolina player standing there at the start of the third quarter. That's what we saw. We saw the 3 guards out, and we also saw the post players not on the 3-point line, but free throw length to the basket, right? That's what we saw. And what transpired from that? Open shots, right? It led to open shots. It led to people being able to cut to the basket and actually not be able to get swarmed because Texas really couldn't get off of the other players because there was a lot of space, right? If the paint is empty, when you cut in there, you have an opportunity for an easy score, right? Or if you get in the paint with the basketball, you get swarmed, well, you got shooters. And because there's no other South Carolina player in the paint, that allows the Texas defense to kind of think about what they want to do, right? Do they leave their man to help double team? Okay, do that. Kick it out for a 3-point shot. That's what we started to see in the third quarter, right? And it was successful for South Carolina. It was very, very successful. We saw some really nice 3-pointers. I believe there was three 3-pointers made in the third quarter for South Carolina, and for the most part, that was from the ball going inside, kicking it out, shots, boom, there you go. And that's what we saw in the third quarter. Then we go into the fourth quarter, or we go sort of towards the end of the third quarter into the fourth quarter. South Carolina started to get away from that, right? They started to get away from that. We started to see the post players actually hang out in the post, which for this game was not good. If they would have stayed out of the post like they did in that third quarter and just used that post to just sort of cut, then I think it may have been a bigger difference. But we also saw Texas sort of adjust their defense as well and get on it better, right? And then we hit towards the end of the game where South Carolina, Texas, neck and neck. And ultimately, there was, a little bit more grit, a little more heart, a little more toughness of Texas, and they were able to ultimately get the job done. Some really key defensive stops for Texas, and just hustle plays, man. Hustle plays, and they were able to make it happen. So that was a general overview. But I do want to get into who I consider the most important player of the game. And no, she did not have the most points in this game. She didn't. Her name is 00 Quita Loves. Quita Loves was the player of the game in this one for me. The reason why is because in the first half for Texas, shout out to Vic Schaefer. I love the way that Vic Schaefer played his bigs in this game, right? In the first half, it was all about Taylor Jones. And then we started to see more and more as go to the beginning of the game, go to the beginning of the stream, and then your comment is not true. Okay, anyway. We go to the beginning of the game and we see Taylor Jones making stuff happen. Absolutely making stuff happen in this game. Scoring down low, being a really good defensive threat in the post, right? Taylor Jones doing her thing in the first half, right? She has her hands wide open. She's able to get deflections, steals. Like, she was doing her thing in that first half. That is the starting center for Texas. But towards the end of that first half, we started to see Taylor Jones not be as effective, right? So, what does Vic Schaefer do? He puts Quita Loves in and has her play basically the entire second half. So, Taylor Jones dominates in the first half. Quita Loves was the closer of this game. Ultimately, she was able to make it happen. Quita Loves, here's the thing about her. She didn't score the most points, right? She only had 13 points in this game. Only 6 rebounds. Only 2 steals. 1 block. Had 2 turnovers, right? But Quita Loves took over this game in the second half. And yes, she did miss those 2 critical layups at the end of the game. She did. She did miss those. However, besides that, her ability to grab rebounds on both the offensive and defensive end, her ability to, even when she can't get the rebound, there was one instance where she was in a position to tap the ball, but she wasn't able to actually grab it herself. So what did she do? Tap the rebound straight to Madison Booker, and they were able to start an offense. Her ability to just be at the right place at the right time and make the right moves. Yes, she did have a travel early in the game, and whatnot. But Quita Loves, her steady Freddy ability to just kind of do whatever she wants, and on the offensive end, and her ability on the defensive end. South Carolina, their bigs, yes, at some points they were able to get Quita Loves, but overall, she stopped them. There is nothing you can do with when you try to get in the paint and you got a 6'6" Quita Loves who has a wingspan of like 6'10", 6'11", something like that. Her ability to stand her ground on defense, to dare you to get after her, because you're not going to be able to get after her. Maybe every now and then you'll be able to get the best of her, but she's going to block his shot. She is someone who is crazy, crazy talented. And I just love what she's doing with Texas. Now, if y'all didn't know, Quita Loves is new on the scene for Texas. She didn't play for Texas last year, right? Last year she played for Miami. And guys, we have seen a way better, way different Quita Loves this year than we did last year. Quita Loves has never been this dominant. in the post in college. She's a junior. She's been in this game for a while. But this year, she has been on another level. And I just love to see it. I love it. I really do. So Kyla Odeker, player of the game in my opinion. Her ability on both the defensive and offensive end to show up, be efficient, and make stuff happen. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I just love it. I think it's pretty awesome. And like literally, South Carolina could do nothing against Kyla Odeker consistently. Consistently, they could do nothing. And like, man, you just love it. Will says, love Odeker so much. Yeah, she was fantastic. Yeah. She was absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. Shout out to Vanessa. Shout out to you, Vanessa. Thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. If y'all want to become a member and support the channel even more, y'all can do that. You get an awesome badge, and also it gives like priority comments in terms of like there's like a different shading to the comments, and so I'm able to actually see the member comments a little bit quicker. But yeah, man. What a game, Art Dog. Yes. Anybody can get got. Okay? Anybody can get got. Anybody can get got. Elizabeth said, I genuinely miss Swatkins. Yeah. Ashlyn Watkins, yeah. If she plays in this game, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's different, maybe it's not. Because again, Ashlyn Watkins played in the UCLA game, and South Carolina got. So like, maybe it'd be a different result. But I definitely South Carolina misses Ashlyn. Absolutely. Maddie McDaniels was too inexperienced to be put in at the times when she was inserted. They don't have the dominant inside person right now either. Yeah, they yes. But I actually like the fact that Maddie McDaniel actually played some minutes in this game. The reason why is because down the stretch in the SEC tournament, in the NCAA tournament, you're going to need Maddie. So, in games like this, you have to feel comfortable putting her in. Because you need her to get that experience, right? She needs to get that experience. And I think this stuff is helpful for her. Now, Miriam Dowda, I don't know what's going on with Dowda. Like, I was like, man, Dowda can't stay on the court because she in foul trouble. Even if she wasn't in foul trouble, I don't think she would have had that good of a game anyway. I just don't know if, I don't, Dowda is a huge question mark. I don't know, man. I don't know at all. But I will say this. Once again, for South Carolina, players who come off the bench make some stuff happen. So in that first quarter, or at the start of the game, right? We saw Chloe Kitts missing some shots, right? Missing some shots. Not very effective on both the offensive and defensive end. She gets put down on the bench, and in comes Joyce Edwards, who makes more of an impact, right? Then later in the game, we see Chloe Kitts get put back in the game. Chloe Kitts started making stuff happen on the offensive end. Still not much of anything on the defensive end, but on the offensive end, Chloe Kitts was able to make some stuff happen. Ultimately finished the game with 9 points in this one, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. But the player that I really want to talk about in this game is Mylasia Fulwiley. I thought Mylasia Fulwiley played great. I thought her ability to get to the line, her ability to be physical, her ability to play defense. Y'all, did y'all see Mylasia Fulwiley pick Rory Harmon's pocket? Like, I was like, okay, girl, okay. That was pretty nice. It was pretty nice. But overall, like, there was some bright spots for South Carolina, right? Joyce Edwards' ability to run the floor. I think she got like 6 points, it seems, just from her galloping down the court faster than Texas, and having Raven Johnson throw her the basically full court pass, right? So there's good stuff about South Carolina in this game, right? Of course, your bench continues to show up. But ultimately, the better team today won. Overall, yes, South Carolina is better than Texas, but Texas played better than South Carolina. They did. And yes, the fans were a factor. Absolutely. Absolutely. The fanfare was a significant factor in this game. However, at the end of the day, I just think that the team that wants it more and the team that plays with the most toughness ultimately is going to win. And that was Texas. That was Texas. And it was by committee, right? Yeah. Madison Booker, yes, scores, has a double-double, 20 points, 11 rebounds, right? Yes, absolutely. But, she had some turnovers. She was not very efficient, right? So, yes, she had a really good game, way better game than in South Carolina, but she couldn't do it by herself. Madison Booker could not win this game by herself, right? She needed Taylor Jones to show up in that first half, and Taylor did with 6 points, with 11 points, 6 rebounds, 4 steals in that first half, right? And then you had Minwatanda, who I like her. I like Minwatanda. I thought she gave some really, really good minutes in this game. Was very efficient from the field. Was someone who to be honest with you guys, I hadn't, paid that much attention to her in years past, but I think she's doing a pretty good job, slotting into a real good role for Texas. She got the start today, and ultimately she was able to be very effective on the floor, right? And Rory Harmon, not a good offensive game in terms of scoring, not a good scoring game, but Rory Harmon, even when her shots are not falling, Rory Harmon continues to be the Energizer Bunny. She continues to, try to be effective as much as she can. So yes, horrible shooting night for Rory Harmon. Absolutely. 1 of 9 from the field. She was not good on that front. But ultimately, she does continue to be the facilitator for Texas, and whatever Texas gets, in a large part is because of the play of Rory Harmon. But ultimately when it comes down to it for Texas, the person who kind of put this team on her back and made this thing happen was Quita Loves. Her ability to, in that second half, just take over in the paint. Take over on both the offensive and defensive end. Yes, she misses some shots, but her impact was huge. Huge. Way more than the box score shows. 13 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block for Quita Loves. And guys, that's the ball game. 66 Texas, 62 goes to South Carolina. And guys, I'm gonna say this. Yes, the referees called it extremely close in this game. Extremely close. The referees were really tight in this game. Really tight. Now, I will say that I think it was evenly bad, to be honest with you. Now, for some of y'all gonna be like, Quita, no, it wasn't. It was one-sided and block. No, the ref calling was not one-sided. It wasn't. There were some calls that I was like, man, why you gonna call that? That don't even affect anything, right? And there were some other times where I was like, is that even a foul? And I did that on both. I was saying that on both sides. Yes, the referees, very, very ticky-tack. Very ticky-tack. But it was on both sides, in my opinion. Now, y'all can say what y'all want about this, but I really do think it was, the scales were pretty even. They were pretty even in this game in terms of fouls and what the refs decided to call. So y'all, let me know what y'all think. But yeah, I think they were. Here's the thing. I want the refs to get out of the way. I want the refs to not be a factor at the end of the game. However, if the refs are going to be a factor, I would rather them be a factor on both ends. And that's what they were today. The refs, they decided in that first quarter where we went to the bonus real quick, right? They decided in that first quarter they were going to call it tight. And they called it tight the whole game. And I can't fault that. I can't. Yes, I would have rather the refs not have been so tight in terms of their play, in terms of the foul calling. However, it was pretty even the whole game. It was pretty even the whole game. In terms of ticky-tack calls on Texas and ticky-tack calls on South Carolina. Like, both coaches were mad. Both teams are mad. And I would rather that be the case. Yes. I would rather, you call it tight on both ends and whatnot than for the refs to, be really hard on one side or the other. But ultimately in this game, we saw 38 fouls. 38 fouls in this game. It was wild. 38 fouls. And those fouls led to so many free throws. So many free throws, guys. 44 free throws in this game. Crazy. That's a lot of fouls. A lot of fouls, a lot of free throws. But I'm going to tell you this. If you just make your free throws, the game is different. The South Carolina Gamecocks were 15 of 23 from the free throw line. All you got to do is make a couple more free throws, and you win the game, all right? Texas, 14 of 21. All you got to do is make a couple more free throws, and the game is not as tight at the end of the game, right? So, yeah, refs equal in the tightness of the game that in the tightness of the game that was called. So I'm not upset with it. I'm not upset with what ultimately happened on the foul call side. So yeah, man, South Carolina got again, and ultimately, guys, this is good for them. It really is, because you want to have these tough losses during the season. Why? Because it prepares you for SEC play and it prepares you for the NCAA tournament, right? This is going to be a team in South Carolina that is heavily challenged because they're not as good, nowhere near as good as the team last year, right? They're not as good. They don't have that post, just sort of dominant player like Cardoso. They don't have her, right? She's over in China balling out, right? And so, we see a different South Carolina in the way that they play. It's very high post heavy. It's very guard heavy. And so, hey, man, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Texas get the dub. And I love it, man. We got UCLA on top. And everybody else trying to figure out what happens from here. Tulip, I actually like this. Tulip says UCLA over Notre Dame over South Carolina over UC. I don't know who the UC is. And then South Carolina over LSU. Yeah, I could deal with that. I don't see South Carolina dropping to 4 after this loss. I think they're only dropping to 3. I think we're going to see UCLA number 1, Notre Dame at number 2, South Carolina at number 3, and probably Texas at number 4. I don't actually see South Carolina moving back further. I mean, because Texas is currently at number 4. Actually, maybe Texas moves Maybe Texas moved up to number 3 and South Carolina moves to number 4. But they're not moving further than that. Because we have to remember, guys, Texas, has lost 2 games on the season as well, right? We got to remember that. So Texas and South Carolina are pretty even. They're even on the year. They won 1 and they lost 1 against each other. So for sure, though, number 1 and number 2 is UCLA and Notre Dame. And then maybe it's South Carolina number 3 and Texas at 4, or maybe it's flipped. Maybe it's Texas at number 3, South Carolina number 4. I don't think South Carolina drops further than 4. Like, they're not moving to 5. No, that would make no sense. But yeah, man, I love to see it, man. I love to see when teams get got. And today, South Carolina gets got. I love it. 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 Let's see if we will have another upset in SEC play. We do have Tennessee taking on LSU. That game is happening right now. We are at halftime where the score is 37 Tennessee, 41 LSU. So, hey, man, are we about to see another upset? Another upset in the SEC? I think it'd be fun if we did. I think it'd be really, really fun if we did. So we're going to see. We are ultimately going to see what happens. All right, guys, that is the video. I don't have anything else to say. But I appreciate y'all so much for rocking with me. If y'all could, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure to stay tuned with all the other things that are happening in the world of women's basketball. I appreciate y'all. Happy Sunday, everybody. Are y'all watching the Super Bowl? Let me know. Are you watching for the game? Are you watching for the commercials? Are you watching for halftime? Are you just watching because that's what your family is doing? You hanging out? What's going on? Let me know in the comments below. And I will see y'all in the next one. Until next time, guys. Anybody can get got. Remember that. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.